Alright, so today we're going to be learning about Google Docs. To go into Google Docs, type in docs.google.com. And it should automatically take you to your account, and if you're not logged in, um, it's pretty straightforward to log in. Uh, for uh, For today, we're going to be using blank document. There are options to choose from. If you go into template gallery, you can choose from many different templates that can be useful for lots of different things. So, but for the sake of our presentation today, I'm going to be using a blank document. Now, the first thing you want to do when starting a new document is name it in the top left corner. If you don't name the document, it will automatically be named an untitled document. So I'm going to go ahead and name it. And naming it makes it helpful to find in the future, so that's always a good thing to put a little bit of effort into. Now you'll see beside the title, there's an option to star it, which means that it'll kind of make it as like an important document. You can also move it to a different folder, and your document will always be saved as long as you're connected to a strong internet connection. There's no time that you have to manually save your document. Okay, now we're going to go into all these buttons down here. They can look a little daunting, but it's fairly straightforward. So to format text, you have lots of different customizable options, such as fonts, colors, sizes, styles, highlighting, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play around with this word right here. When you change the word to, let's say, for example, we're going to play with the styles. When I hover over anything, it will name it for me. So see how when I hover over this box, it'll say font. When I hover over here, it'll say font size, bold, italic. So I'm going to go to styles, and I'm going to style it heading 1, I guess. And then whenever you use headings as your style, it will automatically appear as a jump to section. A jump to section is something that makes it easier. Say, for example, you have a long essay and you have different parts of your essay, or you have a recipe and you have different steps to your recipe. You can go here, and that's the document outline. So you can see I have test as my first kind of section. If I go down, oh, gotta go back. If I go down and I write, let's say, test 2, and then put it as a heading, it doesn't have to, the heading size doesn't matter, I think. So if I were to go heading 3, it still puts it as in our menu. Okay, and so that's styles. You can also choose to change the font. There's lots of different options. Most of these are ones that you might have used recently if you use Google Docs often. There's also ones that I think are popular, and then you can always go more fonts and search for fonts that might interest you. Now, let's change the font to, and there's also sub options for your fonts. So say for example, I go to this, I can, whatever that says, Merriweather, I can choose light, normal, bold, or black. I'm just gonna choose black. All right. Um, the other thing you can do is change the size of the text. Uh, you can pretty much go as high as you'd like. If your size is not already in the drop-down menu, you can enter a custom size. Say, for example, 72. But I'm not going to do that because it's going to blow up my whole screen. So we'll keep it at 20. You can also bold the text. It's already bolded. Um, just make sure that you're obviously highlighting the text that you want, so that you don't get the wrong section of the text, or if you're not, say for example, if you're not highlighting it and you go, oh, I want to bold this, it's not going to bold anything. So you have to make sure that you highlight um, what you want to do that action to. The other thing is italicize. Do that, and these will light up when you do uh, turn them on. So on is they're blue, and then off they just turn back to normal. Um, so you'll always know which one you're on. You can underline, and you'll see shortcuts that pop up when you hover over them. Those are handy if you don't want to reach for the mouse and you're just on a roll with typing. Then that's always an option. Text color, again, pretty customizable. You have all these choices, and you also have a choice to make your own color. And another thing too, I know people have certain color schemes for, say you're writing a business document and you want it to be your business color, then you can always edit the color number and enter in which one you have. Okay, I'm just going to turn off all these. Now you can highlight it. Again, same thing, pretty customizable, any color you want. The other thing you have the option to do is insert a link, which is handy when you want to guide someone to something. Say, for example, you're doing a resume and you need to guide someone to your website. Then you can insert your link and just pretend that's a link, but it's actually not. And then the text you can make, say for example, website, and then it'll pop up as the text will be website, and the link, when you click on that, the link will link to it. There we go. And then the other thing you can do is highlight this and then click on link, and it will automatically fill in that text for you. So you can do it either way and then apply your link. Okay. Now the other thing you do, this goes into, what can I use Google Docs for? Personally, I use it for school, resumes, other things like that, but it's a really good collaboration tool. Most people may not think that, but when you really think about it, when you're writing, if you're on a secure internet connection, you can write with other people. So if I wanted to go and share this document, I can choose who I'd like to share it with, type in their email, and then they'll come up, and I can put them in and add a message, and then I can send it to them. This allows them to be an editor, a viewer, or a commenter. Editor means they can do anything you can do to the document. Commenter means they can only comment, pretty straightforward. I'll show you how to do that uh, later. Viewer means they can only view. Uh, as a viewer, you can highlight the text, like not not highlight as in format, but you can highlight and copy the text and then use it for something else. So that's handy if you don't want people, playing around and editing the text. Um, and then you press send. For the sake of this, I'm just going to press cancel. All right. Um, so once you've shared it with people, and say, for example, you say, go to our Google Doc at um, 5 p.m. tonight, you go into the Google Doc, and it's also handy for writing stories or having any or doing anything like that. You can both type at the same time. And that's just incredible because the the way it syncs is amazing. And to comment, you can highlight the text. Always make sure you highlight it because when I don't highlight it, the button isn't available. So I'm going to highlight my text, and then this is the comment button. I'm going to push the comment button, and this creates a pop-up at the side of the document. So I can go just do that, or you can add people, like you can go like this, and then you can mention someone, if any of you know that from social media. So say, for example, if I mentioned, um, like I mentioned the email, and then they would get mentioned. Or this is a new feature because that was not on there before. That's cool. You can assign, so again, if you're writing a story or you're doing an essay collaboratively, you can assign this task to someone. Okay? Um, all right. Now the other thing is the size of the screen. You can always change, I'm on a PC, Windows 10, but you can always change the screen by just going Control plus, Control minus. That might be different on a Mac, um, but that's an option. Or in the top corner here, you can choose to zoom the screen in, but this is just the paper, not the screen. So say, for example, you can't see that, you can zoom in to 200 and use your mouse to kind of like move sideways and up and down. There's also bars at the bottom and the side here, which is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, go back to normal here. All right, now the insert an image option, handy if you need to kind of explain your thinking, or um, maybe you want to share an image with your friend and that's how you want to do it. Invite them to a document, put the image in there, they can copy it. That's another good way. Uh, so press this, you have lots of options, very customizable. Camera, URL, Google Photos, I think that's Google Photos, Drive, um, search from the web, or upload from the files on your computer. Uh, okay, and these redo and undo buttons, also very important. They allow you to obviously undo and redo your work, but they don't work if you close the document. So say, for example, if I were to close this right now and then come back, I, I'm pretty sure that you're not able to redo and undo something that you've done after you close the document. It will be saved, so you can edit it, obviously, but if you want to go back really quick, that's not an option. Okay, now the align button. So this allows you to choose is how your text appears on the page. Um, I think most of you will be kind of, you'll know what this is. So you can choose to have it on the left side, centered, right side, um, or just like straight down with no center. Like it's not centered, it's just justify, whatever that is. So you can play around with that. That usually works with more text, but we can try the center on this one. So it moves it to the center of the page, which is handy for titles and information that you feel needs to be in the center. Okay, line spacing, again, that's something you want to use with more text. We don't have more text on here right now, so can still try it out. Single line spacing, I think, is just 1, and double is 2. And then in between that, you have these. You can always add custom spacing if you've been given. I know a lot of people use Google Docs for school. So if you've been given uh, certain parameters that you have to follow, like your spacing or your line spacing needs to be, say, um, 1.25 apart, you go custom spacing, and then 1.25, and then before and after. Don't know what that is, but that again is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, so that would be if you have a paragraph, so easier to explain with an essay. So in an essay,
Yeah,
you might have your intro and your middle stuff and your conclusion. So paragraph spacing just says before the beginning of my paragraph, I want this many like white spaces. So like blank spaces. And then after the paragraph, I want this many blank spaces.
yeah. Okay, and then um, more is just these options kind of, but more customizable. You have the bullets you can choose. That's good if you're listing things. Um, there's many different kinds. Then there's number lists, again, listing things. Um, you can shift your arrow over um, by going this is the indent. So for example, if I were to go this way, it would move. Um, and you can also move those manually by going like this, which doesn't move the text while you're dragging it, but after you place it, it will move it over. Okay. Now, this allows you to edit, suggest, or view. There are many explanations under these. So I've explained editing before. Basically, you can edit everything on the document. Um, Viewing, you can read or print the final document and you can copy anything on it, but you're not allowed to edit anything on it. Suggestions are a handy thing if you're collaborating on a document. So let's say I turn suggestions on. Now I'm basically, anything I do will kind of be recorded. So backspace, it's recorded. So it says delete T. So then the person I'm working with can go, no, that T needs to be there, or um, yes, that T needs to go. This applies to anything. If I change the color of the text, it will have a little note over here, and others can comment on that and say, what do you think we should change it to pink? And kind of just converse on that um, option. And then you can easily switch back to editing mode by just going back up here. I'll switch back. Okay. I'll actually show you guys what viewing mode looks like, just so you know. So this is viewing mode. It is pretty straightforward. You obviously don't have very many options. You can um, explore think, which allows you to search the document so you can find words. You can word count if you're viewing a document, want to know quickly how many words there are. You can always print and you can make a copy. Say, for example, if you want to have those resources, maybe someone listed ideas for summer to do, and you can make a copy of your own so that you can edit that. But the person's original copy will remain the same. It will make a new copy for you. You can also email it as an attachment, download, move it to a file, which you can also do up here. And then all these are pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Uh, yeah. All right. Let's go back to editing. Okay. So now, oh, battery. Now I'm going to talk about the things in the top left, it's kind of in the top left corner. These are all our options. They're like drop-down menus, so help, which basically allows you to search for, these things are kind of documents. So when I click this, it'll open up documents that give me instructions. So you can search for anything. You can also search for, let's say, for example, um, spell check. You can search for certain features. You can search for highlight and colors. Oh, it doesn't let me do that one. There, purple. So that's handy if you can't find anything and you want to know, how do I change the size? You just kind of go there and search for that, and I think size would come up. Yeah, so you can do that. Add-ons, those kind of are, it's a whole other section to talk about, but um, there's a lot of good add-ons that work collaboratively with Google Docs. You can find those all over the internet, and there's a lot of good reviews on them, kind of giving the rundown on things. Tools are very handy. So spelling and grammar is always a good thing, but some of you may have a Grammarly attachment, which is an add-on to Google Docs. So you won't need this spelling and grammar tool, but it's it's handy because it's built right in and you don't need to do anything to set it up. So if I go here and do spell and grammar check, it'll run through the document and go and search for any errors. So if I were to go, spell awesome wrong, I go here, spelling and grammar check. Oh, no. Well, it's supposed to catch that, but maybe it's because I'm not typing properly. If I had a whole paragraph in here with errors, it would definitely help fix that. Word count, again, able to count all the words. Review suggested edits, which means that the suggestions bar, that's an easy way to just find them all into one place. Compare documents. I haven't tried that feature. It's obviously new. Probably allows you to look at two different documents at the same time and compare different features. Explore, again, allows you to search the document in like kind of Google. So back to tools. Voice typing, super handy. Some people I know are slow typers, or it's too much for them to type. Maybe they don't know how to spell. The voice typing is really handy. So let me just see here. So you click it to speak. There we go, it's working. Perfect. And then you click it to stop. You can change the language. So I think if you're speaking um, Spanish, Espanol, then you change it. And then that way it can recognize your voice. Or, yeah, recognize the language you're speaking in. And then you can always go back and edit your text after you're done. Say they didn't spell something right, um, or you said something twice, like I do, there. And you can edit that out. So let's see if there's anything else. Translate document, handy if you have a document that was sent to you by someone and you don't know what it says because we're speaking a different language. Um, or if you're doing a French paper and you want to make sure that everything's right. I know most French teachers don't like you using Translate, but it's a handy tool. It's there in tools. Script editor, not really something we need to talk about. Uh, accessibility settings, again, like not really something that a lot of people will use. So moving on to format, same thing kind of that's here, except in a drop-down menu. So we've done line spacing, columns, um, customizable. Again, you can choose how you want to change that. Page numbers, handy for books, or um, if you're required to put it on your essay or collaboration document. Clear formatting, basically, so if I had a whole bunch, this is called formatting. So what I'm doing right here is formatting my document. So if I have a whole bunch of formatting going on here and I want to clear it, I can just do that. Oh, maybe you have to highlight it. Clear formatting. Yeah, so you have to always make sure you're highlighting it. Even I get stuck on that. That's probably one of my most common issues. Okay, and again, all of this stuff is right here. It's just different because this arrow is another thing, it hides the menu. So if I click the arrow, it basically hides the top bar. So now I only see this. So this one is kind of usually what people use, but you can, it's kind of multiple. So they're down here, and up here. Okay, moving on to insert. Um, there's a lot of options here that are handy. Insert an image, which we already went through. Um, insert a table, which is good for if you're organizing something. A drawing, um, actually kind of cool if you need, lines and stuff in your document, customized lines. A chart. So these drawings and charts, like you can make these, I think there's something called Google Drawings or something. There's Google Sheets. So you can insert those things from there. And then horizontal line, basically makes horizontal line. Um, special characters, when you click on that, you have a whole bunch of options. You can draw a symbol to find it. Say, I wanted to draw a check mark. It's a good check mark. And then you click on the check mark and it puts it there for you. You can also search. There's lots of different options. As you can see, there's many different things. Okay, and same thing goes for special characters. Again, lots of different options. Headers and footers, we already did that. Um, basically allows you to kind of title it, and then that puts it in this menu. Okay. Page numbers, already went over that. Link, went over that. Bookmark. So you can bookmark something and mark it kind of as important so that you can link it. And then that's that's kind of something I wouldn't really use that because I'd either use the header or I'd already have a custom link in there. So that's not something I'd use. Table of contents, that's handy for books. Again, view, that kind of changes how you see the document. So it changes some of the features that are showing right now. So for example, if I unclicked show ruler, those dimensions along the side that were just there disappear, which is good if that, is driving you crazy, all those numbers. But I like it, so there we go. Print layout, let's see what that does. Kind of the same thing. Doesn't really change much. I guess if you have a different layout for your uh, automatic settings for print, it might change based on that. Document outline, so that kind of gets rid of all this unneeded stuff on the side there. Full screen, section breaks. Again, like if you need to change the size, you can always go here, and that's probably the one I'd use the most. Undo and redo button, already down here. Paste, and paste without formatting. The difference is if you were to go copy a, a bolded text, say you were copying a paragraph that was bolded and you didn't want it to be bolded, you could press this and then it wouldn't be bolded when you pasted it. Uh, Paste is pretty self-explanatory. When you're in the document, you can copy by going Control C or double clicking or clicking with two fingers, and then you have all of these options. You can cut it, which basically removes the text but copies it to your clipboard. You can copy it, which allows you to copy it to your clipboard but keeps it there. You can paste, which pastes anything from your clipboard, the first thing or the last thing that you just copied. Paste without formatting, I just explained that, or just plain delete so that it just deletes it. Let's do that again. So you can define a word, explore, uh, then comment, which you can also just do in the top right up here. You can select all the matching text of that same thing. So say, for example, you had it and you thought you had too many it in the document because you say it too many times. Then you can do that and find where you say that elsewhere. Okay, moving on to edit. Oh, we already did edit. Oh, find and replace. So select all. That's easy if you want to copy the whole document and then, send it to someone or whatever. Find and replace. Again, kind of like what I just said. So you click on that. I can find so. Maybe I say so a lot. And then that helps kind of find. The replace is optional, so I can just go, we'll replace it with that. Um, these things, you can select and unselect things that may change that. Oh, so if you want to find something and say, for example, you typed it in and you didn't care about if it was capital or not capital, then you don't need to click this. But if you wanted to find so with a capital, then you'd want to go like that. So then you can go through in a bigger document, you can go through and click next until you find what you're looking for, or you can just simply replace all, and that does it automatically for you. And then moving on to file, share the document, which I showed you, is also in this corner. You can create a new document, um, or this is also kind of a shortcut for any other Google um, things such as spreadsheet, presentation, form, etc. Uh, opens your drive, which you can then save or open a different document. So it's kind of a dashboard for Google almost. Make a copy, email it to someone, download. We did this in edit. Rename, document details, publish to the web. I know my brother tried playing with that one because he made, this is actually really interesting, a golf score sheet on, it wasn't Google Docs, it was Google Sheets. So it allowed people to kind of input their scores and add it all up for them. So that's a fun thing to do. But he tried this and I don't know how it worked out, but there's probably a lot more on that. I'm assuming it basically puts it on Google, so if you search it up, then you can find that.
Yeah, so what
Um,
that one does is it just creates a version of the document that anyone can see, even if they don't have access to your file. So um, usually if you create a file, other people can't find it or access it unless you give them permission through the share. So publishing to the web gives you a link where you can share it to anybody on the
mhm.
internet. And it would be a view.
um, yeah. Uh, okay. Print. One of the things we haven't gone over yet is print. It is fairly simple. I mean, you click print, and then you have your document here. You can change all the settings and make sure that your destination is correct, and then print. Okay, just see here. So this up here, last edit, this is where it shows the version history. So when I click on that, it allows me to see the versions. Now this feature, I don't really rely on it that much because sometimes you have to save, or sometimes you have to save it as a version. But I mean, it's always good to see timeline wise of when people come into the document and change things. So I can see there's total 2 edits, which is not correct because I did way more editing than that. So it only does a very minimal kind of tracking, but you can always name the version. Uh, there's got to be a way to name the version.
Does it have certain time periods where it saves and edit? So
Yes, it does. So you
that's
can
probably
see.
what happened then. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a way to make it a version, but I'm not sure about that. Let's see if we can search it. Version. Name current version. So I don't know where that's located, but I just went search. So I can, oh, it went away. So I can name this current version, and I can name it first. Oh, first. Okay, and then that'll go, let's see. Okay, so I've just named my current version, which is 6:55 on September 15th. And that's good if you're doing a collaboration document and you needed to show someone how you changed their document and you were done for the day and you're like, okay, let's go and highlight it all and save this version. Okay, actually, I don't think you need to highlight it, but you can just in case. Um, paint format, don't really know what that is. Nope, I don't know what that is. Um, spelling and grammar check. Again, a shortcut, you can always find them up here. Basically, whatever's up here is stuff you can find down here. Anything else we didn't go over? On the side here, I have add-ons. So say if I go to my tasks, I can view my tasks that are associated with my IceCat account. And I can add a new one. I don't know how that associates with Google Docs, but that's a sidebar because all these things are related to Google. So I think, yeah, so calendar is for creating invitations to put all the details in the document and attach it to the event. The keep allows you to keep pictures, text, or anything else in the document for easy insertion into the new document. So say for example, if you had a note in keep and you wanted to put it in there, then you can open that up and type at the same time, which is handy. Uh, Tasks quickly just shows them. It's great for creating to-do lists. So say for example, you're writing a story and you're like, okay, um, name the story, and then you add that to your to-do list. So okay, so now that we've pretty much covered everything. Okay, so I'm gonna just go back. I'm gonna click this. This has automatically been saved because I'm connected to a strong internet. So I'm gonna click here. This takes me to the Docs home, and I've named my my thing already. So I can open that, and this allows me to right here I can make this available offline, which basically downloads it. So I I think that you can edit offline if you have it downloaded. Uh, that depends. You can also rename it from the home page, and you can delete it. Another good thing is if you have so many documents and they're not very organized and you don't know if they're named properly, you can always edit things like owned by me, not owned by me, uh, last opened by me, last modified, title, A to Z, grid. Like there's a lot of things that will allow you to um, search through the list. And you can also open File Picker, which allows you to kind of search through your files and open it through that. Okay. Yeah, so that is Google Docs, and I find that the best way to learn is always to play around with it, because it never hurts once you create a blank document, play around with it, find new features, you know, figure things out that may help you in the future. It's always a good thing to do. So yeah, that's our session for today.